Hello, everyone. My name is Roberta McCaffrey Robertson from Love Race Music. We promote a better world through music. Our music speaks about pressing global issues and also creates the platform to discuss these issues, to raise awareness and encourage individuals, organizations, and government to take action for a more equitable and harmonious world. As part of our Better World campaign, the theme for the month of February is Love Regardless. And I have with me here today Pastor Sheila Hutchful from Agape New Testament Church. Welcome, Pastor Sheila.
Thank you so much.
For our audience who do not know you, who would you say Pastor Sheila is and what does she do?
Okay, so Pastor Sheila is many things. I guess we're all many things, right? But just a little bit about me. My name is Pastor Sheila. I just go by Sheila, or my friends call me Shishi. And I am currently serving as a pastor here at Agape House New Testament Church. I serve in the Worship and Creative Arts department, so that's primarily where I focus. Some fun things about me: I love chocolate, I love coffee. Can't get enough of that. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
For the purpose of our discourse, what is your definition of love?
Okay, so for me, being a Christian, I derive my definition of love from God. The Bible says that God is love. So for me, God is the definition of love. And, I live my life by his definition of what love is, which the Bible says is patient, is kind, it's not envious, not boastful, not proud, doesn't keep records of wrong. Love that is sacrificial, love that lays down its life. It goes beyond an affection or, an attraction physically, but it's a selfless, unconditional type of love. And that's what I consider to be the definition of love, and also the highest form of love that someone can attain to or aspire to or hope to receive from someone else.
That's great. From 1 Corinthians. That's
Corinthians,
great.
Yeah. We all know that passage.
I do, right? It sums everything about love for everyone as an example. On a global level, what is your view on racial differences, religious differences? What are the events that you've seen around, and what has been the impact on our lives?
Well, I think over the last couple of years, we can see an increase in different things that have happened. We can name out different situations in America, different situations in the Middle East, in the UK that have happened that have really made us aware of how much of a divide there is, in racial views and in political views. And I think we're seeing that the world has kind of been stirred up. It's like a pot and a stick has been taken, and it's bringing a lot of things to the surface. And so we can see that. And with the rise of social media, where now information is accessible to us, not just pertinent information, but information that, of people and events in places that you're not even connected to, you're not even aware of. You just get on and you see so much of that information every day. I think those things have caused us to realize the great divide that there is between people and the polarizing views and opinions that people do have. And it has stirred up so much emotion from countries and from individuals, and unfortunately, a lot of that emotion hasn't been loving. It hasn't come across in a very kind way, and so at a time when we actually need love the most, we're seeing the most divide, the most anger, the most frustration, the most hatred, I think, than we have in a really long time.
So, Pastor Sheila, in your view, how do we practice love that will heal the world at the long run?
Well, I think in order to practice something, we need to experience it. And I think anytime you try to give what you haven't experienced, it becomes very rigid. You can do it in theory, and there's like a knowledge that comes from knowing and reading, but then there's also like an experiential knowledge, and I think to give, it's best to have that experience, So I think first I would say, in order to give love, we need to have received it. We need to experience the love that is genuine and true. Not all of us are fortunate enough to have been raised in environments that foster that kind of love. A lot of us have gone through experiences of trauma, toxicity, abuse, brokenness, regret, hurt, shame, fear. And those are the environments that we've been raised in, or the patterns that we've gotten into, and so we can ask ourselves, well, how do I experience love if my past is so negative, so traumatic, So I think that's when we have to kind of tap into the higher love, the higher power of love, which is God. And to receive that love from him first gives us that experience that we need to love other people, right? And so I would say that's a very, very important thing. We need to learn how to love by being loved ourselves, and by loving, ourselves. Being able to love yourself is a sign that you can actually give love to other people. My father always says, hurt people, right? And people who are loved can love other people. People who love themselves can love other people. So that's one way that I think is really, really important. And I think a lot of us, if we're honest with ourselves, the inability to love starts with us feeling bad about ourselves. Starts with that, insecurity, that fear of us. Am I really accepted? Am I really unconditionally loved? So that's one thing that I can say.
That's great.
Yeah.
In order to give something, you must have it within also, so you can give.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Any final words to our audience?
Well, I think when I'm thinking about this topic of love, and I'm thinking about the trajectory in the world today, with so many opposite and hostile beliefs trying to mix up. One of the things I've been thinking about is just the fact that we need to understand love in its totality. I see two things in the world right now. I see that we either believe that love is completely permissive, right? And we've gone to one extreme where love is just to accept everything, every reality, every option, everything is good so long as it's good for the person thinks it's good for them. Or we go to the other extreme where we say, well, what I believe, if you don't believe it, I cancel you. I block you. I reject you. I insult you. I go online and I say that X, Y, Z about you. Right. And I think those are really two polarizing things. And we see that in the world. Either people are like, you have to accept this, or if you don't, then boom. There's no middle ground, and so I'm asking myself, how do we get to the middle ground of love? Because I believe that love encompasses truth. It doesn't deny reality. Love doesn't say that the sky is green, it acknowledges reality, but love is also patient and forbearant. Love also understands where people are coming from. It has an aspect of humility in it, that I can learn something even from someone who believes completely differently than me. I can meet them in the middle ground. And even if it doesn't change my perspective or my belief or my conviction, I can still learn something from them. I can still grow in my understanding. I'm not afraid to meet resistance. I'm not afraid for my ideas to be challenged. That's actually a sign of security. When you can say, I have convictions and beliefs, but I can also hear people challenge them. And I can have those mature conversations. So I think when we're talking about exercising love in our world, we need to mature in that aspect of understanding love in its totality, that love encompasses truth, but it's also forbearant. It's also patient. It also listens. It also is willing to be humble in circumstances where it clashes with people, values, and systems that don't align with it.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. It just sums everything, that love tolerates people regardless of their differences, regardless of their color, regardless of whatever their stand is on. But let's come have a discussion. Let's, accept each other. And then whatever the differences are, we can walk through it and then find a solution to it. And
it also comes down to realizing that people are valuable.
Yes.
Right? And what makes people valuable isn't the clothes that they wear, the job that they work. And those are systems of the world that are calculating high value. And that's a big ching word right now, is high value man, high value woman. I mean, you hear it everywhere, right? On all these talk shows and different things. But the systems that the world is using to define value, are if you have money, if you're good looking, if you have opportunity, then you're high value, right? Or you have value. But I think love in its core recognizes that people have value in and of themselves because they are special. They are created. They were created in love. They weren't made in anger or in fear or in frustration, that God himself put his mark of love on every single thing that he created. And, you know, God, when he created human beings, he didn't just do it out of obligation or duty. He did it out of affection. And the people that God creates, the creation that he makes, he doesn't just like it. He has deep affection for it, you know?
Yeah.
You can make certain things, like sometimes you make food and you're like, it's okay. Right? Like, I made it, I ate it, like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But God didn't create the world and then just say, it's okay. He was happy with what he created. It was good. It was perfect.
Yes.
It was awesome. And he still feels that way about it. When you begin to realize that people do have value, regardless of the cloak of their race, the cloak of their ethnicity, whatever is visible by appearance, you know, there is something deeper that is intrinsically valuable about them. And that life is worth respecting, you know. So I think it's also important, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. Thank you so much, Pastor Sheila, for your thoughts.
Thank you too.
This is Love Race Music. I am Roberta Robertson. Let's go out and spread the love.